There are places you can kiss a woman that go far beyond the physical. Too many men think intimacy is just about technique or timing, but the truth is far deeper. If you want to be memorable to a woman, if you want her to think about you long after you've left the room, you need to understand that kissing is more than an act. It's a language done right. It can speak to her soul, her heart, and her mind all at once. If you truly want to understand intimacy, you have to begin somewhere most men overlook entirely, the mind. This is the first place you must learn to kiss a woman, and it is the one that lays the groundwork for everything that follows. You see, physical chemistry is easy. Anyone can lean in for a kiss at the right moment. But what happens when the moment is gone? What happens when the initial rush fades? The men who remain unforgettable are the ones who knew how to touch her mind first. And I don't mean showing off, reciting facts, or pretending to be clever. I mean engaging her curiosity in such a way that she feels awake around you, as though something inside her has been switched on. This is where real attraction begins, in the quiet space, where ideas are exchanged, where you challenge her, tease her, make her laugh, not because you're trying to impress her, but because you're genuinely sharing a moment with her. The kiss of the mind is subtle, but it is powerful. It is the act of making her feel that her thoughts matter. It is the patience you show when you listen to her finish a sentence without rushing to respond. It is the way you remember something she said days ago and bring it up again in conversation because it mattered to you. These are small gestures, almost invisible on the surface, but they are the ones that make her feel seen. Most men underestimate how much mental stimulation matters to a woman. They think attraction is purely visual, purely physical, purely hormonal. But when a man can speak to a woman's mind, he creates a magnetic pull that is difficult to resist. It is not about pretending to be someone you are not. It is about having depth, interests, opinions, curiosity, and inviting her to share in them. It's about asking questions that go beyond the shallow, about daring to discuss things that actually matter. When you do this, she begins to feel that being around you is not just entertaining, but nourishing, that it leaves her with something she can carry with her long after the conversation ends. This mental intimacy does something extraordinary. It makes her feel respected. So much of the modern dating landscape is transactional, built on appearances and quick judgments, swipes left and right, cheap dopamine hits with no real connection. A man who slows down and engages with her thoughts disrupts that pattern. He becomes a rare experience. He becomes the one who saw her not just as a body, but as a mind worth knowing. That's what kissing her mind really is. Not just flattery or charm, but a genuine invitation to bring her whole self to the table. And this is where so many men go wrong. They think that being interesting means talking endlessly about themselves or trying to dominate the conversation with stories meant to impress. But this is not how you kiss a woman's mind. That is just noise. The real art is to make space for her, to let her speak and then respond in a way that shows you actually heard her. It is a kind of generosity, a kind of presence that is rare. Women notice when a man is present. They notice when he is not just waiting for his turn to speak, but actually processing what she says. It makes them feel valued in a way that very few things can. When you kiss a woman's mind, you make her think. You make her laugh. You make her feel something other men don't bother to ignite. And once you do that, you will notice something fascinating. The physical intimacy becomes not only easier, but richer. It has meaning because it is built on a foundation of mental connection. Without this, even the most passionate kiss is forgettable. But with it, even a simple glance across a room can feel electric. The kiss of the mind is not about manipulation. It's not about saying the right thing to get her attention or memorizing lines to seem more intelligent than you are. It is about showing up as someone who is genuinely alive in his own mind, someone curious, someone willing to learn, someone who respects the fact that she has an interior world as complex as your own. When she feels that, she will let you in, not just physically, but emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. That is where true intimacy begins. The man who understands this doesn't need to chase approval or force anything. He simply invites her into a space where she feels safe to be herself, to share, to think, to dream. And that is the kind of intimacy it is the kind that keeps her coming back, not because of some trick or tactic, but because she feels something around you that she doesn't feel anywhere else. That is the first place you must kiss a woman. And until you've done that, everything else is just surface level. There is something profoundly attractive about a man who not only sees a woman as she is today, but also sees who she could become tomorrow and encourages that version of her to step forward. This is what it means to kiss a woman's ambition. It is not about being her savior, nor is it about becoming her personal cheerleader. It is about respecting the part of her that longs for more, the part that refuses to settle, the part that dreams even when the world tells her to be realistic. Most women have been told to shrink themselves at some point in their lives, to be less loud, less bold, less demanding. When a man comes along who doesn't ask her to shrink but instead holds space for her to grow, she feels something shift deep inside. Supporting a woman's ambition is not a passive act. It requires presence, attentiveness, and a willingness to encourage her, even when her goals seem inconvenient or intimidating. Many men, often without meaning to, try to tame ambition rather than nurture it. They feel threatened by a woman who has a clear vision for her life, or they fear that her success will somehow diminish their own. But this is a short-sighted way of living, and it leads only to resentment. A man who understands how to kiss a woman's ambition sees her dreams not as competition, but as a complement to his own. He sees her growth as something that will elevate both of them, creating a relationship built on mutual respect rather than silent rivalry. Kissing her ambition means listening without judgment when she talks about what she wants, even if it surprises you. It means asking questions, not to poke holes in her plans, but to show that you are genuinely interested in what drives her. It means being the person who doesn't just nod politely, but actually engages with her ideas, helps her think through challenges, and celebrates her progress without needing to make it about you. And yes, sometimes it means stepping back when she needs space to pursue what matters to her, trusting that her independence is not a threat, but a strength. Women who feel supported in this way are able to relax into their relationships because they are no longer carrying the quiet fear that they will be asked to choose between love and selfhood. And make no mistake, this is a choice many women feel forced to make. They have been told, directly or indirectly, that if they want to be loved, they must soften their ambition, make themselves smaller, prioritize someone else's vision of life over their own. A man who kisses her ambition gives her the opposite message. He tells her, without words, that she does not have to trade her dreams for his affection. This creates a kind of intimacy that is difficult to replicate, because ambition is deeply personal. It is tied to her sense of purpose, her sense of meaning, her sense of who she is becoming. To respect that is to respect her on the deepest level. It is to say, I see you not just as you are, but as you wish to be. And when a woman feels that, she will not forget it. She will see you as a man who does not fear her strength, who does not shrink from her light, who does not need her to be less so that he can feel like more. Because kissing her ambition does not mean losing yourself in hers. It does not mean abandoning your own path or becoming a passive observer of her life. The beauty of this kind of connection is that it is mutual. You support her and she supports you, and together you create something bigger than what either of you could create alone. That is the real power here, a partnership that is not built on competition, but on collaboration. There is also something undeniably attractive about a man who delights in a woman's success. Many women are used to their achievements being met with indifference or even jealousy. When they encounter a man who can look at their victories with genuine pride, who can celebrate without making it about his ego, it feels like a revelation. It tells her she is safe to keep reaching higher, that she will not be punished for refusing to settle. The kiss of ambition is not always loud. Sometimes it is as simple as asking how her day went and really listening to the answer. Sometimes it is offering reassurance when she doubts herself. Sometimes it is stepping in to shoulder a burden so she can focus on the thing that matters most to her. And sometimes it is simply standing back, letting her take the stage, and smiling because you know she deserves to be there. When you can do this, when you can kiss a woman's ambition with sincerity, you become a rare man. Because this is not about flattery It is not about telling her what she wants to hear so she will like you more. It is about genuinely valuing the fire inside her, the part of her that pushes her forward even when it's hard. And in a world where so many people are quick to dismiss women's ambition as selfishness or delusion, your support becomes unforgettable. There is a kind of intimacy that goes beyond the physical, beyond words, beyond even the mind. It is the intimacy of the soul. And this is the third place you must learn to kiss woman if you want to leave a lasting mark on her life. To kiss a woman's soul is to touch the part of her that is hidden from the world, the part that carries both her deepest wounds and her quietest hopes. Most people never see this part of her because she keeps it carefully protected. But if she trusts you enough to let you close, you have the chance to offer something truly rare, a feeling of safety that allows her to be entirely herself. This is not the kind of connection you can fake. It cannot be achieved with clever lines or shallow charm. Kissing the soul requires something that is becoming increasingly uncommon: presence. It requires being able to sit with her in her vulnerability without rushing to fix her or distract her. It is the quiet strength of being there when she is hurting, of noticing when something is wrong even when she hasn't said a word. Women are used to putting on brave faces, to pretending they are fine because the world demands that they be fine. When a man notices the crack in the armor and does not judge her for it but simply stays, it feels like a kind of relief she didn't know she was craving. This is the kind of intimacy that is not dramatic but profound. It is not always romantic in the conventional sense. Sometimes it looks like making her a cup of tea when she's had a hard day, or holding her when she is too tired to hold herself. Sometimes it is saying nothing at all, simply letting silence do its work while she feels what she needs to feel. These are small moments, but they have a way of sinking deep into memory. Long after she's forgotten the exact words you said, she will remember how she felt with you, and that feeling, that sense of being safe, being understood, being cherished, is what she will crave again and again. To kiss a woman's soul is also to accept that she is more than just the parts of her that are easy to love. It is to hold space for her anger, her sadness, her confusion, her flaws. So many relationships fall apart because people only want to deal with the polished version of one another, the cheerful, put-together version that never complains. But a woman's soul is not polished. It is wild, complicated, layered. If you want to reach her on this level, you have to be willing to face the messiness without running away. This does not mean becoming her therapist or losing yourself in her struggles. It means standing firm in your own strength so that she can lean on you when she needs to, trusting that you will not break under the weight of her honesty. There is something incredibly attractive about a man who can do this, who can remain calm when emotions are high, who can offer comfort without condescension, who can show kindness without expecting something in return. This is what makes a woman feel that you are a man worth keeping close. The kiss of the soul is not something that happens quickly. It is earned over time through consistent actions that show you are trustworthy, through keeping your word, through being steady when life is chaotic, through showing compassion when it would be easier to walk away. The men who can do this are rare, which is why they are unforgettable. They don't just share moments with a woman, they share themselves, their honesty, their patience, their calm. And here's the most beautiful part: when you kiss a woman's soul, you will find that she responds with a depth of affection that cannot be manufactured. She will respect you more. She will admire you more. She will open herself to you in ways that no amount of physical intimacy alone could ever achieve. Because now you are not just a man she spends time with. You are the man who reached the deepest part of her and made it feel seen, safe, and valued. Kissing a woman's soul is in the end about love, not the fleeting, romanticized kind, but the kind that is strong enough to withstand silence, struggle, and imperfection. It is about choosing to stay when it would be easier to leave, about listening when it would be easier to talk, about holding her hand when it would be easier to let go. That is the third and most powerful kiss. And once you have given it, you will never be just another man in her past. You will be the one she cannot forget.